With the amount of times I've refilmed this, like, you could tell that I have ADHD. Please note that the following is based off of my own experience and my own research that I've done on how other people experience ADHD. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. This is known as a neurological disorder that is based off of attention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Some people say it's a behavior disorder, but I like to think of it more as something that's neurological. Like, because, behaviors is like, something that you choose to, like a behavior that you have. Whereas neurological, it means that it's literally in your brain. It's like something that's in your brain. A lot of the time, ADHD is picked up in kids, usually in a school space, like when they're doing work and you see that they fidget a lot and they're very hyperactive, and that's when, teachers go and see that, okay, maybe this child has ADHD. That would normally be around the age of like 12, because again, that's when, you're doing a lot of work and maybe that child will find it boring and they'd not trigger your ADHD, but it will show some symptoms of ADHD. But some adults can be diagnosed with ADHD, and that may present in a way of like someone who wants to do everything all at once. So maybe they want to multitask, but the tasks that they want to multitask aren't multitaskable tasks. Adults who usually have ADHD usually have anxiety. So you'd feel like that anxiety would like push you to want to do everything at once and be hyperactive, and it's usually a sign of ADHD. The cause of ADHD is unknown. Doctors do say that it's something genetic, so it's something passed down to you. So you'd find that your parent or your grandparent might have ADHD symptoms and it's passed down by you. Again, some people don't see some of the ADHD symptoms as ADHD. They just maybe think that it's someone's personality. So a lot of the times people don't pick it up, especially a lot of people in the older generation don't really look for those type of things, because people are still like, people were at the stage of not educating themselves on mental health. Like, there were some people, yes, but a lot of the time people weren't educating themselves on like mental health. So people took it as like normal, which I would say that the symptoms of ADHD isn't a bad thing. Like, it's not like something that's like, oh, it's not normal, but like things that present itself as ADHD weren't really recognized and picked up on. Some other suspected like causes of ADHD is children being premature. It's not confirmed, but some people believe that children who are premature, who are underweight, like developed, their brains weren't developed or something, and it developed ADHD. But that's not been scientifically proven. ADHD is a condition that people think, okay, someone bouncing off of the walls and never stops talking, but it's not like that for everyone. The reason why I want to do this video is because I have ADHD, and I wouldn't say, okay, I can be, but I wouldn't say I'm as chaotic as the stereotypical ADHD person. I was diagnosed with inattentive ADHD, so that means that I daydream a lot, I become inattentive. But it's not like a thing of I'm ignoring what you're saying. It's more of like I would space out, and I like would sit still, space out, and not concentrate in that manner. Like I said before, ADHD symptoms are different for everyone, but I'm gonna speak on mine, and hopefully like it can help some people know how it is to have ADHD. I'm not trying to create a thing where, you can diagnose yourself with ADHD. You have to speak to a medical professional, but I'm just saying my experience. So my main symptoms are not being able to focus, being restless and impulsive, but sometimes the way that I present it is not something that people would be concerned about. So, for example, like difficulty focusing. Like, maybe I would doze off and daydream or something. People would just be like, oh, just concentrate, like, come back, because everyone daydreams. But for me, it's like to the extreme where it's like I would constantly daydream. I constantly space out and then miss things that people say. My forgetfulness, again, why it was picked up late for me, because I was diagnosed like a little bit late, like in grade 11, grade 10. No, grade 11 or grade 12. Grade 12. I was diagnosed in grade 12. So how I went undetected is like I knew like people from like YouTube or something, or people just in my life, they like write stuff down. Okay, so I also adopted that habit of writing stuff down like in a notebook, on my iPad, on my laptop, so I wouldn't forget in that sense. But like there are times where maybe people would speak to me and tell me something, and I wouldn't think that I should store that. And I would then that's when their forgetfulness shows. Like people can be forgetful, okay? But mine was more of like, if you've told me an instruction like maybe 5 minutes ago and I get distracted by like maybe something on my phone, maybe I have to concentrate somewhere else on my phone, I would immediately forget the instruction that you told me, even though I said, okay, cool, I'm going to do it. And then like people will remind me and I'd be like, oh, sorry, I forgot. So it's that type of forgetfulness, like little things that I wouldn't think, okay, let me store it in my head. Because I'd be like, okay, they just told me to do something. It's not going to be that difficult to remember, but I would easily forget that thing. So it's like more of like an everyday forgetfulness. It's less of a forgetting an assignment, forgetting homework. It's more of like forgetting like things that just can happen anytime. You get what I'm saying? After talking to my psychologist, we kind of just saw that it was like ADHD and my concentration wasn't that well, and like that's how I was diagnosed. One of the main things that made me want to investigate if I had ADHD is there was a time where I felt like there was so much in my brain. Like I had so much going on and I could not organize it in my head. So I would become overwhelmed and I wouldn't know where to start. And I feel like that was my ADHD indicator, because I would like have difficulty focusing on what's more important than the other. Like for example, maybe I need to go and make up my bed. I need to go and do something that has a time limit. Okay, maybe I put food in the microwave and my parents have sent me. Those three things would overwhelm me because I'm like, okay, I've got 3 tasks. Like they're clouding my head and I don't know which one to prioritize. So another analogy is like picturing circles, okay? So the circles represent the tasks that you need to do. So my circles were like all big and the same size. So I never knew which one to prioritize. So like that was my head just felt so clouded and so like I couldn't sort out my own thoughts. Things like having a song repeat in my head over and over and over, but like maybe one line would repeat over and over and over throughout the day, to a point where like it's taking up too much space. Remember, I already have those tasks that I mentioned before, so like it would take up so much space and like my concentration was not directed at what's happening here, but like more what's happening here. Volumes of people, like for example, let's say we're sitting in a class, right, and the lecturer is talking and then there's people talking behind. For me, the volumes would be the same. I can't isolate the different volumes of someone speaking to me. So that is an indication of how like my focus wasn't that great. Things like having like an urge to impulsively spend. I used to get anxiety over like things where if I wanted something, which sounds very like bratty, if I wanted something, I would feel so anxious that I'd have to get it, And that's what triggers the impulsivity, because you don't want to be anxious anymore. So you just go buy and you buy and you buy. That was my impulsivity, where it's like I felt anxious if I didn't get something. And it would be something small, like a water bottle, a specific water bottle. I'd get so anxious if I haven't spent on it, even though I might not need it. Maybe a water bottle is not a good example. Maybe like a bottle of perfume. I have 3 bottles of perfume at home, but this one suddenly feels like it's ride or die. Like you can't live without swiping your card for that thing. So that was my impulsivity, and that's like one of my other indications. And I never understood why it happened. I always used to get upset with myself, like, why are you getting so upset that you don't have something that you actually don't need? Blame myself, and I'd call myself greedy when actually it's like a symptom of ADHD. There's some mixed opinions about taking ADHD medication. Some people feel like humans should be able to correct themselves, and you shouldn't have the assistance of medication, and if you take medication, then you're becoming, like, your body is going to become lazy to try and fix itself. And some people are pro medication because they're like, okay, scientists were able to find a solution to whatever we're dealing with, and it works. So, they're pro. And like, because it's a scientist, someone who has studied, medication and all of that, they're like, okay, I'm pro medication. Personally, I don't feel ashamed taking medication. I think it helps me. I think if my body wanted to do it, it would have. And I mean, it had been 18 years. I think it was about time. Medication for ADHD has like improved me a lot. And my concentration has been good. Like, it's helped me, pass more. Like, I can study more. And it helps me cope with my overall lifestyle. But yes, there are side effects when it comes to medication. What some people don't know about is that when you take medications such as Concerta, there's like a major side effect called Concerta crash, and that's after the medication is worn off, and it comes in the form of like having intense emotions. Well, okay, this is for me. I have intense emotions when it happens. I feel very anxious, or I feel heavily tired, or and tired to the point of like, I don't want to do anything. Like, I'm just so drained. Like, that is my symptoms. Some people, according to the internet, some people experience headaches. Some people, it's like their concentration has gone back to zero, and have a major loss of concentration, like as if they've never taken the medication to begin with. That's another reason why ADHD isn't fun. It's not something that is a quirky little like condition. It's something it's actually like very hard to deal with, and I think a lot of people don't really know that ADHD is a difficult thing to deal with, especially when like in movies and TV series they depict ADHD or people with ADHD as, the fun people who are like impulsive and dumb and whatever, but it's actually a struggle to be dealing with ADHD. And I think if I wanted one thing, like if I wanted you to take away one thing from this video, is that ADHD is as difficult as any other condition that people deal with. I wanted to make this video to help people understand how people with ADHD experience life in general, and I hope I did that. I hope I conveyed it well so that people can understand the condition and all of that. Maybe if you could share your experiences in the comments or in my DMs. I'll like post them on my story and all of that, because like I said, like somewhere in the video, that people experience things different, and it's good to see how other people experience things so that we can see like, okay, there's many things that we need to watch out for. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for your support. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.